He's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment. We're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Dava salute. Welcome, welcome. So good to see you guys again. Boy, it's only Tuesday, but it feels like it's been a week already, let me tell you. Let me say hi to everybody that's here. Already got a heck of a crowd. I'm feeling great about that. Starting out with Big Al Presents. Have a great show, my friends. Yeah, he just dropped another review. I'm not sure if that was last night or this morning, but I've got it queued up to watch as soon as we're done here. Make sure you check that out. Netter of Netters Network. I just dropped off her drink upstairs. Hello, love of my life. Hello, my dear. So glad that you are able to be here as well. She read the title and she's suggesting, let's talk about Elvis, Memphis, the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones. Well, maybe we'll get to that. Sure. We got a lot of things we could talk about. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Chapla from storm-ravaged, is that Minnesota? Well, you take care of yourself, stay dry, and, I hope the storms pass you by relatively smoothly. We're having a bit of rain here too. It's just kind of gray and drizzly. So that's another reason I guess I'm feeling a little today, for those that were like, how's that again? Rosefire popping in for a bit. Still got to stay sober. That's fine. You don't have to have an adult beverage on your liquid lunch, but I'm glad whenever you come and visit me. Rosefire bought me a drink last night through the PayPal link that's below. That's the best way to do it. If you want to make sure that, whatever contribution you make to the channel, you maximize how much gets across, because keep in mind, YouTube takes a third of everything that you put in the super chats and the so forth. So just part of being a so-called partner. I feel like the front person partner, although as far as back end, I'm kind of the silent partner. Getting ready for a nice Memorial Day weekend. Oh gosh, that's right. That's coming up. Forgot about that. It's a good point. Forgot to remember Memorial Day, right? Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube. She says, hail to all of you in the chat, as well as hail to myself. Thank you so much for being here, Connie. I'd like to know if Troy and Netter grew up with any favorite animated or live action Disney films to share with the chat. I like that. I'll come back to that as soon as I finish saying hi to everybody, which will be in just a moment, because I am seeing Mark Melnikoff just got here, and he says, Merpo, here I are. Welcome, welcome. And Rosefire is expecting rain towards the end of the week. Yeah, my mother usually calls and asks me what the weather's like, because she knows within a day or two she's going to get the similar weather. So yeah, so that's a great question. She says, any animated or live action Disney. See, this kind of falls into something we've been talking about with Disney for a long time now. How Disney used to be fun, used to be family entertainment. I remember we just Aged Boomer and I just did last Friday talking about Must See TV, which was an NBC thing, as well as I did some references to ABC a little bit, with the concept of appointment television. This idea that there were certain shows you had to watch on the night that they released because it predated, VCRs and the ability to buy, home media and so forth. So I remember in the 70s, they had The Wonderful World of Disney on Sundays, and they usually played, it was what we had before Disney had their own cable channel, which was the Disney Channel, and then their own streaming service, Disney Plus. And what they would do is they would just, I guess they treated it the same way. They thought of it as content, right? They would look at their old movies that they'd already done, some of them classics, some of them kind of sleepers, and they just throw them up on a Sunday and get ad revenue for them, which, I mean, is a perfectly viable business model. We kind of see it happening now with, with the streaming services and whatnot, and licensing and all that kind of stuff. But I remembered a lot of Apple Dumpling Gang. There was a movie called One of Our Dinosaurs is Missing, which was a comical look at a historic phenomenon of museums in the early part of the century scrambling to get bones of dinosaurs to display in the museum. Which also led to, things like the existence of the Brontosaurus. Based on the name and the way that they put the bones together, the Brontosaurus actually doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but we'll get back to that in just a second. They had the wrong skull on the Brontosaurus bones, or what they called the Brontosaurus. Only to figure this out later as they were finding more bones around the world. And so when they corrected the skull, they changed the name to Apatosaurus. Now, I don't remember what the names meant, so I don't remember exactly why they were called what they were, but they did bring back the concept of the Brontosaurus for a different dinosaur since then. Let me real quick say hi to Daniel Barry's Sports Highlights. Salud. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Yes. Yes, Big Al, that was another one that I was thinking of from the Wonderful World of Disney lineup. Gus, the cat from outer space. I do remember that. That's back when they would use real animals in their live action films rather than, CG, oftentimes monstrosities. Now AI can create those dinosaurs. Yeah, that's true. But even before AI, they could take those bones, bring them into the computer, You know, it used to be you had to literally put the bones together and start putting them up on rigs, and you made a best guess. Now you could take those bones, digitize them, bring them into a physics engine, and say, what's more likely? The way that these bones sat when the dinosaur was upholstered, so to speak. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Blackbeard's Ghost. That's right. That's another one. All of those Kurt Russell ones, right? The computer that wore tennis shoes, I think it was. And although I don't think this was him, it was the Shaggy Dog and the I don't remember what else, but a story about a dog, a man that turned into a dog, and then a boy that turned into a dog. Anyway, but yes, that's why I knew Kurt Russell was from Disney films before he ever played Elvis, before he did a lot of the things that he did. Let's see here. I remember my siblings, and I screamed with laughter at the Knights Yahtzee fight at the end of Bedknobs. Oh, right, Yahtzee, right, because you can't. Right. Oh God, I loved Bedknobs and Broomsticks. That one was just brilliant. Angela Lansbury. Yeah, that was great stuff. Great stuff. Let me see here. Somebody chiming in my ear. Just make sure there's nothing important going on there. Okay. And longest running superhero RPG on Earth. Greetings, my friends. Check out his channel. He's got a great narrative about his longest running superhero RPG. Definitely worth checking out. But let's face it, the famous cartoons. I saw Netter had mentioned Cinderella, the original Snow White, which we just watched on our members' night at the movie a couple Mondays ago. Gosh, really, all of those classics. There was one other, the big three: Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. All of those three, and I will argue that Cinderella was one of the very, very few live action adaptations that Disney actually did decently, and it was one of their first. The other one was the Jon Favreau Jungle Book. Oh, the Jungle Book. That was another great one. Mary Poppins is, of course, my absolute favorite. I think of all the Disney cartoons, Mary Poppins is my favorite. I mean, yeah, that, and I'd say a close second would be Peter Pan. Peter Pan, I have a lot of personal history with. My mother took me to see Peter Pan at the drive-in. And then when I got a little older, my brother, when she was pregnant with my brother, she was telling me that she missed out on watching the Peter Pan stage play that was televised starring Mary Martin when it was on television because she went into labor with me. So she was looking forward to watching the Sandy Duncan version of Peter Pan when it aired, but then she went into labor with my brother. So what are you going to do? And then when I was in high school, I was in the high school production of Peter Pan. I played Jonathan. And so I told my mother to come, and I'm like, see, I have to do it myself so that you can see the Peter Pan stage play. Anyone else had the VHS copy of Mary Martin's Peter Pan growing up? Yeah, we eventually did get that for my mother because, it was the only way she was going to end up seeing it. So I think I ended up making a DVD copy of it for her eventually. But those are some great memories. Gosh, I'm almost hesitant to bring up what I've got on the other screen here. I was thinking that just for spits and giggles, we could visit that park place and see what they're up to over there. And when I do, let me bring it up real quick. Maybe we won't stay here. Maybe this is just too depressing. But apparently the first thing I see, Pedro Pascal caught in video dancing suggestively with rainbow-colored rod. Bizarre public behavior continues ahead of major Disney releases. This is what we have come to associate Disney with these days. But yeah, as a matter of fact, we were watching for Members Night at the Movies last night, celebrating Age of Boomer's birthday. He gave us a suggestion of films to see, and the members chose the movie The Car from 1977, and there were people dropping the memes in Cosme, and one of them was Herbie the Love Bug. And in that meme, now remember, this is all live action. It's a Volkswagen Bug with a racing number on the side, and it takes off from a starting point, and it does a wheelie. And I mean, you could poo-poo, a Volkswagen can't really do a wheelie, but this was a practical effect. They really did this. And I'm sitting there going, I'd love to know how that was done. The new Herbie will be a proud trans black woman. Yeah, exactly. Not a Volkswagen. The Volkswagen was invented by, yes, literal, exactly. It's exactly right. My gosh. The people's car. That's exactly what Volkswagen means. That's absolutely true. So this is what Pedro Pascal is up to, and there's a lot of people that are speculating that the introduction, the marketing going into the Fantastic Four is going to maybe not be as bad as Rachel Zegler with Snow White, but it's hitting some of those same notes. Then we hear that right here we got Pedro Pascal reportedly encouraged Dakota Johnson to join a certain fan site because it would be a great way for her to capitalize on her feminine wiles, so to speak. And of course, he suffers no consequences because he's in the in-group. Anyone else would have been Me Too'd for that, but I guess we don't do that when it's our side of the aisle. But their side of the aisle, let's go after them. There's a rumor that Marvel is eyeing Wicked star Cynthia Erivo for Storm in the MCU X-Men reboot. I think she is box office poison. But let's see. Let's see what comes of that. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Massive standby waits over 5 hours long now plague Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry ride at Epic Universe. That actually sounds like good news. I mean, it's not great news for the people waiting in line, but the fact that they're waiting in line for 5 hours means there's something they want to see. And they are not at Disney. That's a big deal. But when your park is having line problems because there's so many people, that tells you something, right? I'm not going to click on any of the members' articles. I am a member at that park place, but just to give you an idea of what they're talking about, Josh Tomorrow says Disney is on the offensive as Epic Universe opens, but no new rides, only closures at Disney World in 2025. I kind of extrapolated from the previous article on that. Didn't intend to. No wonder if we're seeing less rainbow merchandise in stores and online for June 2025. Mark might be able to speak to that a little bit. He works in retail, and he's been having to deal with all the rainbow Mickeys and so forth, and do displays for them. And now he sees his company kind of backing off of that, as most companies are. Disney, not so much, but everyone else is. We're still talking about the Abu Dhabi park. I hesitate to call it a Disney park. This Abu Dhabi amusement park that's going up overseas is licensing Disney, IPs. That doesn't make it a Disney park. Hate to say it, but just like Disney China is not really a Disney park. That money stays in the country, and they get a small licensing fee. That's all they get. Almost like a tariff. Wonder why we'd want to tariff these countries. Just saying. Thunderbolts director reportedly tapped to lead MCU's X-Men reboot. Yeah, because they did so great on Thunderbolts. Let's push ahead and do likewise with the X-Men, right? There's that Pedro article. Disney extends disability access service eligibility to 1 year, but keeps controversial screening system in place. We talked about that a bit on Geeky Geezers, how they're literally discriminating against handicapped people and limiting who they consider to be handicapped. Very interesting in their inclusion, that DEI, the I part of inclusion there. Just saying. That's why I keep bringing it up. They keep saying DEI. You keep saying that. I do not believe it means what you think it means. There's the massive standbys, of course, the Wicked article, the Dakota Johnson one. They're closing Muppet Vision 3D. Now, that's bad enough, but a lot of the pixie dusters online will come back at you and go, but, they've got to clear the way for new stuff. They can't keep the same old stuff all the time, which is what, was it Universal and MGM Studios theme parks said when they would take out the Jaws ride and the Back to the Future ride, and all the other things to bring in stuff for new IPs. I guess I kind of understand that, but what are they putting in place of Muppet Vision 3D? Another Monsters, Inc. thing. As if they didn't already have a Monsters, Inc. section. So they're going to double up on Monsters, Inc. I mean, it's great if you're going to replace the Muppets with some new IP you don't already have there. But that's not what they're doing. It's ridiculous. And we'll probably be talking about this on Sunday. Netflix saves Sesame Street with unprecedented deal that keeps episodes free on PBS. So, as you may recall, and somebody correct me in the chat, I may be mistaken on this. I want to say that, was it HBO or was it Showtime that picked up the distribution rights to Sesame Street? So it left PBS. And in so doing, they started infusing it with modern audience sort of stuff. Netflix is apparently going to be picking it up now, and you'll be able to watch it on Netflix if you have Netflix, but you will also be able to watch it on your local PBS affiliate again. So, small victory. And again, this is why Netflix is beating out all of the other streaming services, especially Disney. Rosefire does wonder how much money Disney will make by licensing out their characters to other countries building Disney theme parks. Well, we kind of know already by looking at the returns on the China front, and it's not so good. It is not so good. You can look at how Japan, Disney Japan, has been doing. They get zero say in what happens in those parks. Remember, we're not allowed to watch Song of the South, and they have bulldozed the what was it called? The Zippity Doodah ride, right? You can't even hear that song at the Disney park. Well, guess what? You can still see it in Japan. Japan loves that. And Disney tells them, no, we don't want to hear it. Go back to America. You know, this is Japan. We do what we want. So apparently Josh tomorrow says Disney is on the offensive as Epic Universe opens, but no new rides, only closures at Disney World in 2025. So in other words, he talks a good game, but actions speak louder. This is interesting. I haven't even read this article yet. Superman box office projection shows James Gunn's movie could outpace Man of Steel as DC Universe kicks off. My first instinct was, well, it's not really a high bar, is it? But Man of Steel was profitable, wasn't it? I mean, it didn't do as well as it should have done, and many of us didn't care for it, but that's still, and again, right? Man of Steel didn't do so well, so they spent the whole time trying to boost it back up by changing the premise, lightening it up, making it seem like maybe possibly Superman actually cared about other human beings, you know, and they never quite got there. I think James Gunn, as I've said last week, I do feel that James Gunn is starting from that place. He's starting from demonstrating that Superman cares about life and is a more positive person. So if there's any tweaks that need to be made, I think they will be minor ones. I think we should still be critical. If you are being critical of the James Gunn Superman, by all means. Oh, thank you so much, Joe's Atmosphere. It's a drive-by, like, and share. Zoom. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Yeah, he's a great supporter. Always sharing out my streams over on the Twitter's tweets. I super appreciate that. This one actually, I'm surprised is not bigger news. CBS News CEO Wendy McMahon resigned as Trump lawsuit threatens network stability at Paramount merger. If I haven't sent this one over to Boomer to talk about this Sunday, we will probably be talking about that one because that's kind of a big deal. The adage of rats fleeing a sinking ship comes to mind. Just start off Superman with a smile in the sunlight. That'll begin the new saga on the right foot. I'm not sure if they're literally going to do that, but I've already been seeing just this last and I think they got that message and they made sure that was kind of front and center in the most recent trailer. I think I described it as although I still don't like that suit, I don't think that suit fits him, makes him look wimpy. What surprised me was the scene of Lois interviewing Clark, and Clark's just wearing a nice dress shirt, and I'm like, well, that looks pretty damn buff, you know? They did not tailor that suit right. That suit should be making him look every bit as buff as he is. It should enhance how he looks. But be that as it may, there are a lot of good scenes of Clark smiling in that trailer. So we're off to on the right foot. I think you're right. I do think they're going to deal with him having some doubts and some issues. Keep in mind, Superman has been in that headspace many times in the comics. That is very Superman. So I'm not talking angsty, broody, Snyderverse. But Superman 2 was all about Superman making a bad choice and realizing he had to fix it. They may have overdone that, but nonetheless. I'm shocked. I was shocked when I saw this. I think it was today I saw this. Hollywood still welcomes Ezra Miller. The Flash star sped down red carpet at Cannes despite arrests and allegations. Again, they're very forgiving of their own. But if you are on the wrong side of their history, there is no forgiveness. Marvel might race swap Professor X. Of course they are. Of course they are. More pandering. Pedro Pascal went off in profane political meltdown at Cannes and got applause. Gina Carano got fired for a meme. That is true. That is a perfect example of what I literally just said. That the hypocrisy is ridiculous. Superman going into darkness isn't a problem. I think it's more bringing him back into the light that writers don't know how to do effectively. Rosefire, that is a great point, because the Snyderbot's whole argument for why Superman was okay and why killing someone was okay and all the stupid crap they wanted to justify in Man of Steel. Well, this was early in his career. He's still learning to be Superman. Okay. I think that's BS, but let's just say that was true. We need to see that arc in his character, and we don't. We see somebody whose first option is to snap the bad guy's neck, doesn't have any other option open to him. He can't think of another plan, like the Christopher Reeve did in exactly the same circumstance. Go back and watch Superman 2 and compare it to Man of Steel. It's the same movie, just told better. Well, I would argue that the Donner version is told better than the Mankiewicz version, but anyway, that's beside the point. And then suddenly the next time we see him in Batman v Superman, everyone loves him and he's, positive, and, they were sad that he died and he's so glad he's come back. And it's like, wait, how, when, where? This makes zero sense. I would have expected to see some of those things that we saw in the first trailer, throwing stuff at Superman's head, I think we're going to see that learning arc of him caring about what the public thinks about him and maybe taking it too much to heart. We'll see. I don't know. But maybe a little bit more storytelling. Sorry, multitasking poorly, no, that's exactly what today is about, especially today, because we're just kind of going all around the world talking about all kinds of things here, such as the Access Media's Spin's Thunderbolt's third weekend box office numbers is a big win, while Marvel's real losses mount. Look, you can't argue with the numbers. You can spin them however you want. You can posture them. You can gild the lily for the purposes of the investors. But the actual bottom line is they lost money again on Thunderbolts. Even if you think it was a good movie, maybe it was a good movie, or maybe it's good just by comparison to the crap they've been putting out. They still lost money on it. That is not good. That's the other thing to keep in mind. If Disney has one movie that's good that people go to see, Does it do as well as it could if people still cared about Disney, still loved Disney? The Pixie Dusters were still, as big a force as they were. I think so many people go, Thunderbolts? Who are these characters? It looks like more DEI crap. I'm not going to go see that. You don't have the suspension of disbelief and the willing to try anymore. There were times, we started out the stream talking, because Rosefire started us out with a smile, I guess, where I'd never heard of the Apple Dumpling Gang. I didn't know what one of our dinosaurs is missing. I didn't know what any of these stories were going to be, but I gave them a try because it was Disney, and I enjoyed them. They're not my favorite movies. I can't recite them to you now. I've seen them a couple times since then, like on The Wonderful World of Disney, when they were on the Disney Channel and stuff like that. But it was Disney, and they were fun. Now people aren't willing to give things a chance because they've been burned too many times. Rosefire's leaving the lunch table. Everyone have a good afternoon. Thank you so much, Rosefire. You too. Salute. Oh yes, and of course the longest running superhero is multitasking, and I certainly understand that. Blood and turnips, the essential equation Josh Tomorrow pretends not to know. Yeah, trying to get blood from a turnip, right? Which is an impossible task. We got a Gears of War movie adaptation being helmed by the Deadpool 2 director. I know almost nothing about Gears of War, but I did like Deadpool 2, so that could be a good thing. Rippaverse Saints and Sinners comics collection surpasses 100,000 in its first day, proves the power of independent storytelling. I wish the Rippaverse great success. I did start at the ground floor and picked up like all the comics they were putting out for the past, for the first few years. I like it fine, but I'm not like, die hard. And so I probably won't be continuing with it, but that should not influence anybody. I think they're doing great work over there. And I absolutely wish them the best. I can't get into another thing. I'm in my 50s, I've got my nostalgia, and I will live off my nostalgia now, and I'm fine with that. And when the franchise owners of those nostalgic franchises destroy them through neo-Marxism, I just ignore it and I stick with what I love. Jimmy Kimmel is probably on his last contract. Doesn't surprise me. That's something else to keep in mind, folks. We talk about, well, they should get rid of The View, and they should get rid of this, and they should get rid of that. They might want to, but they are tied in by contracts, whether it's contracts for the personalities or, just for the show in general. They have to write out those contracts before they can get rid of them. So the question is, does that contract get renewed? That's what you got to keep an eye on. Apparently, Daredevil Born Again is a major flop. All episodes fail to chart on Nielsen rating, in historic first for MCU. Now, again, this is another example. I've heard really, really good things about this Born Again series that they did. They said it was like a return to form to the Daredevil that we loved from Netflix. Problem is, nobody is subscribing to Disney Plus. That's the problem. I'm sorry, guys. It just comes down to it. They've cut off all their revenue to throw their content, their very expensive content, onto a streaming service that's dying. That's not making them any money. We talked about this yesterday, the Ironheart dislike ratio. Lois Lane actress Rachel Brosnahan never said Superman is not for everyone. Fan never said Superman is not for everyone. Fan uproar ignited by viral fake quote. Interesting. Yeah, and I'm glad that the studios and the talent come out and take ownership of their marketing and say, look, no, I did not say that. She probably is now going to come out and say Superman is absolutely for everyone. There is something about Superman that everyone should love. You know, that's how you market something. You know? I'll bet you, though, that this viral fake quote is probably done not by the supporters of Disney so much as supported by the Snyder bots that want to see everything fail that isn't their dark, gritty Man of Steel, not so Superman. Is Sacha Baron Cohen playing Mephisto in Marvel's Ironheart? Well, I won't know because I won't be watching it, but Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto would actually not be a bad casting, in my opinion. Star Wars actress to lead new Disney Buffy series alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar. Star Wars actress. Well, I'm going to click on this because I want to see who the Star Wars actress is that they're talking about. Ryan Kiera Armstrong, best known for a role in Firestarter and with an E, and most recently Skeleton Crew. Okay, so in other words, somebody I don't know. So that does nothing. That does nothing. Let's go back. That means nothing to me. Yeah, I guess Ubisoft isn't doing so great. I may or may not have sent that one to Boomer. Actually, we may have talked about that last week now. I can't remember. Nev Campbell, Polaris in the MCU 97 cartoon. Okay. And yeah, we're now kind of starting to get into last week's stuff. So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, check out that Park Place. That's always a great place that I go to keep up on what's going on in Park. Wrong button. That's what happens when you're having a liquid lunch. But yeah. So that is the state of pop culture today. I hate to sound like an old fart, but it's all the old stuff that I want to keep going back to because of nostalgia. Maybe there's an element to that, but also what I'm nostalgic for is good storytelling. Knowing how to tell a story. Look, we are rebelling against the cultural destruction of our favorite franchises, and that's partly because of the neo-Marxism, the DEI, and whatnot. But it's also a lack of talent. Sometimes it's the DEI behind the scenes. People being given the ability to write stories not because they're good storytellers, but because of the color of their skin or their gender or who they like to do bedroom things with. And I don't care about any of those things. I don't care what the gender of the director is. Half the time, more than half the time, I don't even know who the director is. I don't care what color they are. I don't care who they diddle around with on their free time. I care what happens up on that screen. And if they understand the concept of mise en scene, if they understand how lighting and camera angles work and focus, that's what I care about. if they know how to get the emotions out of an actor, if the actors understand the character they're playing. These are the things I care about. And by goodness, it's got to be written well. It's got to be written by somebody who knows how to create a character arc, understand the characters enough to create a character arc, that they develop, that they're going somewhere, that you build anticipation and that leads up to some sort of a denouement, right? With a satisfying conclusion. And if you're planning on having a sequel, ending it on a compelling cliffhanger. You know, these are tried and true storytelling elements that need to be there if you want the audience to return. Whether it's Star Wars, superheroes, or something completely new that they haven't done yet. I do feel like an old fogey sometimes. Anyway, guys, you really are the ones that make all of this happen. So please, if there is a topic you'd like me to spend more time on, make sure you drop it in the comments below. With this daily show, I'm making it up day to day. If there's something that sticks in my craw, that's what I get on about. But on a day like today, you know, a rainy Tuesday where there's not a whole lot happening in pop culture news that really grabs me wanting to talk about that I haven't talked about already, then we're just going to roundtable it, just like a bunch of friends getting together for an hour of liquid lunch. So there will be another one tomorrow, of course. I just don't know what we'll be talking about. But I do know what we'll be talking about later tonight. How about YouTube's BS copyright system? I'm going to have to put some effort into that. I can't do that like for tomorrow, but I got to think about that because it's a problem, and it's impossible for me to talk about it without sound like I'm begging for money. Because honestly, there's no way to talk about the copyright system on YouTube without talking about the greater, you know, shadow bans and just fighting the system just to get my message out on YouTube, let alone trying to earn a living doing this, you know. But it's a great one, and I will add that to the hopper to work on. That one requires a little bit of research in advance. But what I do know is coming up is this evening at, although we're going to try to start early, so keep an eye on the stream. It's up already. We will definitely be starting by 7:30 p.m. Central. That would be 8:30 Eastern. Live from Sparkwood and 21, where tonight we will be visiting the award-winning David Lynch film, The Elephant Man. It's a great film, a great historical. I don't want to call it a biopic, but it's definitely in that genre-ish. John Hurt, what's his name? Anthony Hopkins. Excellent film. This is the film that kind of brought David Lynch into the mainstream. But that's right. I am not an animal. I am a human being. I am a man. That's exactly right. Great quote. Great quote. But I will also be pointing out, not that you'll need me to point them out, some of the elements and tropes that are very common to David Lynch that we see in Eraserhead, that we see in Dune, you know, that kind of typify a Lynch film. You know, you see it and you're like, I bet David Lynch directed this. Yep, he sure did. Yep. And immediately after that, on my channel, of course, the next episode of Blake 7, we're at episode 3 of season 3, an episode called Volcano. where we will get to know the new characters, Terrent and Dana, a little bit better. Yes, Lynchian. That is a very, yes, just like you can have something that is, yeah, you know, Poian, I suppose, or you could have something that's, who wrote the Metamorphosis? I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, you guys know what I mean. I'm starting to sound a little bit like a former president here. Thursday, of course, the live premiere of our interview with Charlotte Nightstar, the werewolf. Friday, I will be joining Big Al and Deleted Scenes at 7 Central, 8 Eastern for Near Dark, a really good vampire film. I don't want to say too much about it because I know Big Al has not yet seen it. Don't want to spoil anything. I mean, there's not a lot to spoil, but there's like a few lines that I just love to quote, and I don't want to ruin those lines for him. Followed by Last Call, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, where Aged Boomer, Netter, and myself will be hosting Clifton 3D and Mikey Souza 4 as we talk about fan films, specifically ones that they have loved and want to make sure we talk about. Kind of following up on our conversation from last week. And that's how it works. You know, there was so much interest in that particular topic. We're going to dedicate a whole 2+ hours to it on a Friday night. So that's the work week ahead of us. You guys know how it works. So I want to thank you all for coming and having lunch with me today. Have a great one. Get back to work and be productive. Talk to you later.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.